Good evening and welcome to the workshop for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. So we will start discussion to include Carey Lake Campground, Memorial Building Scoreboard, City Hall, window project, tentative budget timelines, utility rate follow-up, regional public safety building, cannabis, and of course our roundtable discussion. So we'll start with Carey Lake Campground, and I assume that's you, Mr. Wallace, City Service Director?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council.
Yep.
I just wanted to bring up the Carey Lake Campground project. Again, we got our bids back. We've all talked about it. Not everybody was here that last time we went over bids. We have to get back to these contractors by the end of this month. I think it's like the 24th, I believe, was they were going to hold the bids till. So if you want to start on the spreadsheet that is dated 3/1/25, so that was the original amount. The original bid that came in for the project was $2.4 million there from Shoreline Landscaping. Sorry.
Backside.
The
backside.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was the original one that came on bid day. Has that $2.4 million mark in there. At that time, the last time we talked about it, we weren't really comfortable at that time dumping in the short of roughly $9 million to get that project going. Since then, I've worked with Bar Engineering and Shoreline Restoration. If you flip it over to the 4.2 budget, I've worked with them to whittle that number down to what we could still have a functional campground, and it would still pass the state of Minnesota health inspection or whatever that governs campgrounds. We could get that number down to 1.8. But that is taking out all the concrete sidewalks. You would have a building, but no sidewalks around it. It's bare bones. We'd still have a shower building. We'd have campsites, but that's where that would come in as 1.8. But with that 1.8, by reducing the scope of the project, the DNR funding goes away. They will not fund a completed project. So we lose the DNR grant. So that takes away $350 out of the revenue side. So it's really not that much of a savings in the, then we'd be at 1.6 of a shortfall instead of 1.9. But either way, in conversations with administration and finance, we're just not comfortable in moving it forward and taking that much out of reserves to get this project going right away with all the other things that have come up with with finishing off the public safety building and the public works deferred maintenance and things like that. That's priority number one for us, and until that is solidified, I don't know if we can recommend moving forward with a full project at this point, unless we get outside funding from legislation this May, or if we get an LCCMR grant, that would move to the next year. But I guess that's staff recommendation at this time, unless there is other direction from council. Bar did talk to Shoreline Landscaping. They're willing to actually keep their bids for longer than April, and they're willing to do a very pared down project, whatever we decide for a dollar amount. But I told them that I would let you guys know that tonight at the meeting and report back to them. So.
All right. I'll start, I guess, my feelings on this. If we can't do it right, I hate to pare it back because it's tough to move forward later. If we postpone, well, the one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, the sewer and the water are going in already. So that's a piece that can go in without affecting anything else.
Correct. Yes, we will finish off the awarded projects that we already awarded.
Okay.
So
if we don't go, then this would have to be rebid again next winter, and we would have a better understanding, one, where we're at with our public safety building and other projects that we're working on. Two, whether we did get any funding from bonding or LMMCR, right?
Yep.
What is it?
LCCMI.
LCCMR. So we would have a better understanding of that. It's not that we'd have to do any more redesigning, it would just be a matter of rebidding. And Jesse, we've done that before where we've postponed projects and had to rebid them. I mean, everybody's gonna know what the bids were the year before if we went that route, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, we've done that before, not many times, but when you have a shortfall in funds, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, if it was $300,000, it'd be one thing, but we're talking 1.9, that's a lot. And I just don't think with all, my personal opinion, before council, you have a chance to speak, is with what we have on our table right now, as long as we're still moving forward with the campground and certain components, I'm comfortable with that, not just stopping where we are. But we have too many unknowns right now on some of our other projects, even City Hall, as we're kind of closing the envelope of this building down. That, I have no problem waiting one more year. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Jeannie, didn't you ask a question the last time this was brought up about at the racetrack, if people wanted to have their trailers stay there, what provisions were we going to be able to make for them? Was there a code issue or something, or?
Well, it was, yeah, that has to be an approved campground.
Right, so where are we on that? Do we know what the findings was on that, that it has to be an approved campground then? Or?
I think that's just a temporary, I don't think it's designated a campground, you know, for a race. I think you could, as long as you have the facilities in place, you know, enough porta johns and hand washing stations and showers if you need it, portable showers, I think you can do it as a temporary. I don't think it's designated as like a, you know, longer stay campground. I think you can skirt around that a little different, but I'm not 100% sure. That's my understanding of it, but.
That would be more like a Leaf Fest or something like that, where it's just a special event.
Right, special.
Right, because I think that would be important if we're really trying to get the racetrack going too, though, that we have some place for those trailers and stuff to go, if it's not the campground, because we're gonna put that on hold, is what it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the campground would be designed for a racing group to bring in their cars and everything that
No,
go
I'm
with that.
thinking. Go ahead. That's fine. I was just wondering if we have a, because I know it was brought up during the conversation last time with the campground. Jamie had brought that up, and I was just wondering what we found out.
Councilors, any other questions or thoughts regarding the Kerry Lake Campground at this point?
Well, I do think, to Pete's comments, I don't think paring down anything at the campground is gonna make it successful. You know, not putting in concrete walkways to the shower building is not gonna help people with disabilities, right? So, if you're building a RV park, which this would end up being, it just makes it 10 times more difficult.
It stinks, but as long as we can come back to it, it's good. Like you said, we want to do it right, it's not bare bones.
Do we have risk of losing these other grants just due to time as well?
I was gonna touch on that too. The IRRR grants, we gotta use up this year. We will do that between the projects we awarded already, and then, I'll work with BAR to make sure that if we can do a little extra, you know, groundwork or utility work or whatever, just to get the power up to the spot, we'll do that. We'll make sure those grants don't go to waste, because we do have to use those this year, so. But the DNR one, we haven't even signed the agreement on it yet, because the DNR would not allow us to move forward until we had an archaeological dig done. We did that, and now they just reviewed it, they okayed it. So now they sent us the grant agreement for it, for that. So we haven't signed it yet, but we have a few years on that one.
Okay. And how long did Shoreline say they would push out?
They made it sound like they would hold it till June or July
Or
if
July.
we wanted to do something later on. But, I mean, I wanna get back to them
Right.
soon.
I'm not very hopeful in the state producing some extra funds this year, but, we would definitely know by that point, right?
Yes, yep.
Any other questions? All right, if you want to move on to the Memorial Building scoreboard?
Yeah, Memorial Building scoreboard. Our current scoreboard there is a 93 model, and just not comfortable going another season with it. The controller's gone bad a couple times. We have a backup we had to use for the basketball tournament just to get through that. And we've called the company, you can't get parts for it anymore. And so I want to look at getting something different in there before the next hockey season. We can sure go the easy route and just do a like for like, replace what we have, and it would be 50 grand, and it would be the exact same as what we have. But I would like to move forward, or try to move forward with a digital display with a 4-sided video board up there, just to give us more options for revenue generation in the future as well. It's a hefty price tag to get a 4-sided. I have estimates in the 325 range, 325,000. But looking to sell naming rights or selling advertising spots on the board. The top, as you can see on it, would have a super anchor sponsor. That would be the main person or the main business that would sponsor that one. They would have permanent naming rights on all 4 sides permanently for the life of the board. And then on the bottom would have multiple spots to sell anchor partners, and there would be 8 different anchor partners that would go on the bottom. So you'd get 2 sides, so 8 people or 8 businesses would get 2 sides, and selling those for a 5-year commitment at $5,000 a year. And then with that, you would get your name on the board, but then you would get in-game type sponsorship as well. You would get, you could run your ad during games. You would also get like a game night. If your business wants to set up a booth at a game and hand out promotions and do things like that, there'd be a game sponsor. But just looking for ways to pay for the board first, get it paid off, and then in the future just generate more revenue back into the building by selling it after the first 5-year commitment. So.
Nick, and Sheena, maybe you can answer this too. At one time, all advertising, all concessions went back to an account for the Memorial Building. We kind of closed out that account because we needed money when the renovation occurred. Is that account reestablished?
We've still been recording all the scoreboard because we have the dasher boards and the scoreboard
Yes.
revenue now. So that's still going into that one fund, and then the concessions has its own fund as well.
What is that up to right now?
I think I said, was it about 100,000 for the one?
Okay, so that did start rebuilding because it was about 300,000 is what it was at one time.
Right.
Because we were looking at a scoreboard a few years ago, but then we did the renovation and we X'd that and used it towards construction costs. So we do have some money there.
And that money could be used towards the scoreboard?
Yes, it's the sales money is for dasher board, scoreboard, yes, the advertising. It's held a special account, so that, hopefully you'd build enough. And once this is bought, what'd you say the date of the scoreboard was?
93.
Yeah, so we're looking at a 30-year-old, over a 30-year-old scoreboard. So it's gotten its money's worth out of it. And plus, the new one will have much more revenue generating ability than what we had in the past.
Yeah, just more options.
Yeah.
They're endless, basically. You can
Yeah.
create whatever you want to put up there, and we can do other events with it and use it too. So.
And this
And
board is,
it's the same board that the school district has at the football field, the new one
Okay.
they put up at the football
nice.
field. Same software and everything would run it, and I talked to school district a little bit about using the students that are doing the game day productions for football games and utilizing them for high school hockey games and creating graphics, creating the videos and things like that. So.
what is the time frame turnaround on this scoreboard?
He said if we placed an order in June, it would be in by hockey season. So next couple months would hit it hard to try and get a few of those big ones committed. And then we do have some of our own funds that could go towards it. But, yeah, that's what I'm thinking anyway. And just looking, I guess, for your approval or support to go out and ask for commitments on this.
And this is used for all, yeah, when we've had basketball, we've had hockey, you know,
Yeah.
any sports you run there. If you ran football, you can do football. If you know, in arena football, you can do just about any sport on these scoreboards, correct?
Yeah.
Did you have any suitors for, especially this big sponsorship, or is that a bridge you haven't crossed yet?
I have one in mind for the top one.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
is the sound system gonna have to go along with this at some point shortly?
It will,
Okay.
eventually, yes.
Do
We
we
can,
have any
we can
idea
still
what
tie
it's-
in for now,
Okay.
but we're gonna want to, account for that soon. And if we can get, some sponsors to right away on board,
Mhm.
I would include the sound in on this
Okay.
too, and
It's kinda what I was
we
looking
pay
for,
for
is
it or
why not do
however,
it all
yeah.
at once if we
Do
get
you
the
know-
sponsorship money?
Do you have a cost on a sound system with this?
not quite.
Okay, all right,
I've got some preliminary numbers, but,
all right.
nothing concrete yet on it.
I do like that they got Hibbing winning on this, on this board.
Sure that was intentional.
Well, I mean, for myself, I think you need to move forward. I know I was at the arena, I think 3 times when the board went out. And I know we kind of just skipped by at the end of the year to get through.
Yep.
And it has been a good board, so it was just time, we've talked about this for years, that it's about time it got changed.
It's significantly bigger, or is it?
No, it's about the same.
Okay.
It's roughly the same.
Picture.
It looks a little bigger on the picture, but
Does that include their installation?
yes.
Okay.
We
It's
would
gotta be
have
hung and
to,
everything, yep.
yep, we would have to provide structural engineer to double check everything on the trusses and everything, or the beams up top, and make sure it can withhold a different weight, but yeah, otherwise installation is included.
325,000.
Okay. Any other questions regarding,
This might be a dumb question, but I know when I was on the board to help build America League field, the Twins Community
Mhm.
Fund kicked in a lot of money to do that. Does like the Wild offer anything like rehabbing hockey rinks, youth hockey?
I don't know. I don't know if they do I know they do stuff for programming and getting more youth involved, but I don't know if they do like capital projects for some of that. I'll look into it.
Okay.
And they have a lot of Mighty Ducks funds, but that's for like ice plants and stuff to renovate, ice plants and getting new refrigeration in buildings, but I'm not sure about video boards, so I'll look though.
any other questions? Okay, thanks, Nick.
Last thing, just an update on City Hall. So we finished up pretty much everything in the building with ICS except for the exterior, and that's still planned for this spring. And that is on the top, the cornice and terracotta, and sealing that in. That is still planned for as soon as they can here. We just got brick samples back. Everything matches up, color matches good for that. So that'll continue to move forward. The windows, on the other hand, again, we got a grant from the state, and with that requires a SHPO review. Historic Preservation Office has to take a look at the drawings, and so originally, the west side of the building here, that was done in 2018, with an H window. We would love to go with the H window all the way around this building. And that price is right there on the spreadsheet. The H window is right there. If we did this on our own, by ourselves, without any grants, that's what it would cost for to finish off this building. SHPO does not approve of the H window. So we're gonna go with the St. Cloud window, which is the next column. It's an aluminum window. It's the same window they did at the Hibbing High School. And we thought that would be approved. That's the price for that one. We got word back, SHPO does not approve of that window. So moving on, they want us to go to a custom wood Marvin window for replacement on this building to bring it back to the original intent, I guess, of the building, original design. We don't have a price yet on that. We're waiting for that from Marvin. We should have it next week. I am guessing that is gonna blow our budget out of the water big time, because we are using that grant money. So I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure, but we're probably gonna have to revisit the conversation about scrapping the grant money and going back to funding it ourselves and going with an H window, because we'll probably pay less just using our own money and our own design on the H window versus going with the grant and going with the wooden Marvin window. Does that make sense?
Nick, from what I understand, they want to go to a wood exterior, so they would have to be varnished. They would have to be maintained like years ago,
Yes,
instead of maintenance-free.
Right.
I know when I did the west side, we went with H windows because I reached out to the county. And they went H windows on every one of the county buildings, and a lot of their buildings are historic.
Yeah.
And that's why we went that way. That was their recommendation.
The only other way we could probably do this is if we kept the grant money and totally reduced the scope of the project and just did like one side, whatever we could fund, you know, with our intentions of doing 1.8, you know, whatever 1.8 would get us, you know, we could maybe do one side, and then in the future you'd have to go back and ask for some more grant money and do another side, and just, you know, it's going to take a lot longer otherwise, and a lot more money obviously, but otherwise we go back to the drawing board and go with an H window and just fund it ourselves without any grant money.
Was the IRRR grant only matching the state grant, or the?
Yeah, the IRRR grant is now also requiring SHPO review,
Oh.
so that would go away as well. Correct, I think. Yeah.
One note, our legislators are also interested in this narrative that if we have to give back almost $1 million in grant money because they're requiring a window that does not meet efficiency needs for a city at our stage with our size windows and our, age of City Hall, I'm kind of wondering if we go down and do some work around this to see if we can get legislatively some pressure brought to SHPO if they've already approved the St. Cloud window on other historic buildings with state funding. Is there a way that they would allow that on ours?
I mean, yeah, and wood Marvin windows would look amazing the first year, right? Like, that would be very impressive, but they're not maintenance free, right? So
Correct.
we'd be working on those for the rest of their life as well.
Correct. I just, I don't know that that conversation has been had fully higher up than maybe the architects at the State Historic Preservation Office. So, when you're thinking about the current climate for efficiency and things, that might be a conversation to have.
Well, you'll know more once Marvin, from what I heard you just say, Nick, you'll know more as soon as you get a full cost
Yep, we'll get that next week.
of what the
so-
Marvin windows will really cost.
Correct.
And I'm interested. Now you've perked my interest in wanting to see what that number's gonna be.
We just didn't want you to be caught unawares once that came in, so you need to see the project as it's evolving and understand all of the inner workings and the things that are bringing pressure on this project and the cost.
I will report back once we get that, so, but just know that's coming down the line here. We'll have to make a decision one way or another.
The one suggestion I would have, if we do move forward, we don't do the whole building, would be to do the front, since we're gonna be doing renovation anyways. And the issues you could have, with lawn repair and stuff on the front, to get that done at the same time. We've got a parking lot on the north and the east, so those could be done anytime, almost like when we did this side. But the salt, that could be damaged, done twice to our lawn and sidewalks with the equipment they need for doing those projects.
And one thing too, with the custom Marvin window, the lead time's gonna be a lot longer. It won't be done this year, this construction season. It's gonna get pushed out. By the time they get shop drawings for everything done and ordered and made, it's, the season's done, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating when you're trying to preserve a building and keep it intact, but they don't care what it costs. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them what it costs, you know, so.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Sheena, I assume this next one is yours?
Yes. So I handed out, it was also within your packet, the City of Hibbing 2026 tentative budget timeline. So Josie prepared this for me and for the council, and she used similar dates as last year, obviously shifting them over, you know, to reflect what our regular meeting dates will be on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. Right now, there aren't any special meetings in the calendar. It's our regular city council meetings, and it's very reflective of what we did last year. So I'm looking for city council feedback if you liked last year's process and timeline, and if we want to stick with this process, and then add any meetings in as needed if we need to go through some extra stuff.
Personally, I liked last year's timeline
Okay.
versus the year before, and I think we accomplished the same. And I think you just hit it, if we needed an additional meeting here or there, we could add it, but that's my opinion. So, councilors, open to you.
Okay.
All right. And you must have children to read also.
I do. Also within your packet, didn't print very well in the packet, so I also sent it out or handed it out tonight in a better formatting so you can see it in the spreadsheet. As a follow-up to our joint meeting that we had with the Hibbing Public Utilities, we had, if you remember, Russ from Baker Tilly was there. He prepared their utility rate studies for all of their utilities. And then we also did a sewer rate study with Baker Tilly, but it was a different person. His name was Matt. So we were looking to have them combined so you could be able to see what the bottom line would look like for a utility user, both residential and commercial, year over year. So that's in before you tonight. With the sewer, we initially had the study done based off of the CIP that Jesse had prepared for the sewer lining. And then it came back with, it was like 23% increase for 2026. And we were like, I don't really think we want to jump that high in 1 year. So he came back and he looked at it again as, if you did a 5% year over year, this is how much sewer lining you could do per year with your capital improvement program. So we reflected that a little bit differently, and that's where we have the 5% increases in here. For sewer, we also talked about stormwater. Currently, we don't have a CIP for stormwater. I think Jesse's looking at going down that path in the near future, so we can have that ready to go too. But our stormwater fees are so low, we really don't have any revenues to recapitalize that system when we need to. So he was looking at having us increase that 7.5%, which is a large percent, but a really low dollar amount. And then that would get some funds in there to start recapitalizing the storm sewer system. But all in all, it's before you tonight because I wanted the city council to see what was proposed. I'm not certain if the public utilities has taken any action on theirs yet, but I would like to bring the city's sewer rate study to the next meeting for approval. It would be at a study level where we would still analyze annually during the budget cycle if the increase is still warranted based off of what we have for department requests and capital needs. And then also we would want to look at like the economy, and everyone knows what's going on right now with the economy, and see if we can adjust appropriately with jobs and rate increases.
Well, basically, you have an enterprise fund. So, I mean, it has to support itself. How
Right.
many miles of, I know the sewer, but storm, how many miles of storm do we have, Jesse? Do you know roughly?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look. I could figure it out in about 5 minutes, so I can go to my house.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious, and I just like, I know, because I've seen the sanitary, and roads and alleys and stuff, but, I mean, it is the enterprise fund. You know, it should be, the users have to pay for it. So, and I didn't realize, this is new, that we didn't really have anything for storm as far as for generating revenue.
Oh, so the storm sewer fee has been like the $3.20 fee, and then the rural is a lower amount per month, or per month, it's like $1.20. And when that's been going up with these 1% increases, it goes up about a penny
Yeah.
every month. So really, all that's paying for is the operating costs of the system, not any of the capital. It's not coming back in to pay for the depreciation, so therefore we wouldn't have the money to go recapitalize the system. So.
And that includes our culvert system too, right, Jesse?
Correct.
Okay. All right. It's interesting. It's great information.
Mhm. And if you have any feedback after you look at it or at home, feel free to reach out to me before we bring forward the sewer rate study for actual approval.
Counselors, any questions for Sheena today?
No, just to clarify, the utility hasn't taken action on any rate increases yet, but we will be. There will be something coming down the line, but thank you for working together with them on this.
Okay. We'll move on to 6. What's the regional public safety building? Is that both you and Jesse, or? That'd be great.
We are actually gonna kick the can down the road until the 16th on that.
The
So,
16th? Okay.
Yeah, we're coordinating right now. Patrick Sims will be here, probably Jeannie from Brunton. We wanna hit on costs for the, public safety building, where we're at, deferred maintenance on the public works side of it. We wanna talk about some of the nuances when it comes to the, plat exemption, the real estate, the relationship with MnDOT, and how that's all gonna work. So we'll kick that to the next meeting.
Very good. So at that time, cannabis. Is that under you, Mr. Kuczynski, or?
So I'm gonna pass. If we get to the drug,
It's not me.
so if we get to the drug, so then I have to speak. So what I'm just passing out to you is it's a brochure that came out based on a webinar that took place on Monday of this week. And so we're a little nobody has gotten a license yet in the state, but we're behind in what the city will need to do to be ready when that comes about. So this is just a general information. It makes reference to a number of attachments in there. And I don't know if I got enough to go all the way around, but I need to work with Pat. By the nature of how I understand the cannabis system is going to work, a lot of the city's obligation is the zoning part of it, as in, where could these be located? You know, are we going to zone? We put in our ordinance, you can't be too close to a children's playground, you can't be too close to a school. But beyond, so when a site comes forward, we have to make sure they're in the area that's zoned properly for them, and you can't zone them, you can't create a zone or system such that they can't be in your city. And the council determined that we're essentially leaving this open for as many as want to come in, provided they're in the right place. I've talked to Greg a little bit about it, but I really need to have a meeting with maybe Greg and Candy and Pat and I to get feedback as to how this practical system is going to work. The forms haven't been created yet by the state for us to complete, but we need to set up an account. We need to have a kind of a contact person here within the city. So this is just a general information for you for this evening, because I need to get in touch with Pat and have a meeting where we kind of coordinate. how this is going to work when licenses do start coming forward, and that will happen. I mean, I reached out to the state about 3 weeks ago and said, exactly where are you? Because I'm seeing attorneys from other areas getting all these inundated with emails, and they're like, I get back kind of a pat answer. We continue to accept licenses, however, we have not gotten to the process yet about issuing anything.
Okay.
And I'm not sure exactly how quickly that's going to happen, but just to give you an update, there's more work that needs to be done, so things will be coming back to you with regard to this issue, so that we're properly ready when businesses do want to seek a license.
All right. Question, Betsy, we're doing a land review coming up here. Would this be part of, that would be tied in, I mean, we're just putting that together, so I would assume we'd want to look at, cannabis locations if the city moves forward that direction, as part of this land use policy.
The land use chapter update and the
Yes.
zoning amendments following. Yes, typically when you zone like alcohol, tobacco, and firearms in certain locations, they can be in certain commercial districts, et cetera. And so that's probably how you would handle it,
Okay,
is with those kinds of licensed products.
all right. Very good, so it will be addressed then, there should,
Yeah.
okay. Andy, that's it?
On that one, yep.
Yep.
No weed inspector, Joe?
That's him, that's him.
All right, at that time, then we'll move on to roundtable discussion.
One item from my office this
Yes.
evening. So, as you worked your way through the agenda for the regular meeting, we approved a meeting for April 30th at 5 o'clock. So thank you for doing that. Why are we doing that? So we want to do two things during that meeting. Sheena has been working on a financial plan. Our staff has been working on a capital improvement plan. So we kind of want to bring that together and get it in front of the city council in the context of some of the projects that we have, either going on or pending. And we want to have this conversation with the city council when it comes to how much money we have internally, how much we need externally to leverage some of the stuff for some of these projects. So that's a long way of saying, how much can we afford? That's the conversation that we want to have with the city council. Along with that, we want to update you all on some of the projects that we're working on. Some of the feedback that we have received in the past, I don't feel like I'm up to speed on stuff. So we're trying to be better about communicating, but also, what are the different methods that we use to do so. So that's what's going on the 30th. Does that work into everybody's schedule? 30th is last Wednesday of the month, so, okay. That's all I have, so I'll yield to.
All good. Steve?
I'm good.
It's coming up on street paving projects. I think Greg was it last year or this past? I don't remember when it was, but we went and rode through Kitsville and we kind of looked at the roads there. And we looked at Spudville. Do we have any plans that I can tell people we actually are gonna do some work on either of those areas on the roads?
Spudville Road, I gotta look at that 5-year plan. I believe it's either next year or 2027.
And are we phasing that over how many years?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah, that'll be our paving project. It'll be one big mill and overlay project.
Okay.
This year we got,
Brooklyn?
what was approved? Yeah, we got Brooklyn, Latonia. We'll have to get to
Perfect.
Kerr and those ones, yeah.
Okay. And what about Kitsville? Do we have any plan for that?
We have it in the schedule. I'd have to look at what year.
Oh, I thought you said something. Okay.
So, with those, I mean, we could do like we're doing with Brookline. I mean, you go in there and you do everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
The only thing I have is just a couple quick updates from Rams. So been to several Rams meetings. The great thing is they just continue to be the one voice for the Iron Range. Lots of discussion around hydrogen and helium and permitting and taxing and how that works. So, there has been helium and hydrogen found from both the North Shore, and it could run all the way to Missouri. So, lots of opportunity there. It's down in the state now, trying to figure out how permitting works, how taxing works, because it's completely different than it is to pull iron ore from the ground, so. And then other than that, the Rams, bus on Monday, I'll be on that, going down to the Capitol to meet with our legislators,
Yep.
so. Just wanted to share those things.
Thank you. I have one thing. I was working with Erica Zubich, had reached out. She's looking at digitization of the Hibbing newspaper. It's kind of nice. She's looking for some funding from the city. They got funding from Chisholm. She's reaching out to many different groups. The way it works, I think it's the History Museum has every newspaper in the state of Minnesota. But they have it just like we have it, I think on the microfilm or whatever it is. So they actually do the work for $1 a page, so their personnel, their people. So she's looking to raise as much funding as she can to start moving our Hibbing paper so that, one, you can have it immediately at our library. It also would be available at our History Museum, but it's also available on your phone. You can bring it up, any paper, anytime once it's done. The overall projects, there's 350,000 pages of Hibbing papers over the duration of the life of Hibbing. So she's looking for some support from the city. I think it's something we need to do. It'll go to our library too, so if anybody goes there and they use our computer, they can bring it up. It's a very cumbersome process to do that right now, to look into the history of the paper and pull information out. This is done where you pick a certain word and it can find anything related to that. It's pretty amazing what they do. What's so neat about it is, and she and I know, even taking our information, when we could do it, you gotta have someone physically do it. They do it. So it's $1 a page. So I would like the city to, put some money towards that, because I think it's important for, one, our library to have that, and two, for our residents to have that access. I just don't, what amount, I guess that's what I'm wondering, and I would give some probably from my mayor's fund, but I would like to go in that, $5,000 to $10,000 range, to get them started. I think she's reaching out to quite a few different entities, and she has some funding already in place, and then the rest, she'll see how it comes in. But it's something she's gonna just keep moving towards till we have a completion of our history of our paper and our community. And I think they're gonna be looking at doing Chisholm's paper also, which was a weekly paper, or twice a week, whatever. But this would be towards our Hibbing portion of it. I think it's important.
So the Hibbing Foundation did give $5,000
Okay.
for that project,
Thanks, thank you.
for Hibbing papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the number that sits in my mind is 10,000 to get them started. And, we'd have to define where, and it would have to be approved at a council meeting, but I just wanted everybody, I think it's an important thing to get done.
I agree. I'm wondering if maybe she could give an update of all the different places that are getting, because they are doing that right now. If she could have that, I think that's
I
really
have that
important.
right now. I think I do have it here. So right now, she has individual community donors, Security State Bank, Hibbing Community Foundation, City of Chisholm, and they have requests out to the city, or Chisholm Community Foundation, the Ben Owens Foundation, of course, City Hibbing is on that list too, and they're talking with Cliffs, Lake Country Power, IRRB, and US Steel right now.
And I do think Owens Private Foundation did give some money.
Okay.
So that may be what we need
Yeah.
to find out what that might be, because I think it was going to be a significant amount.
Okay, but I think
It's
it's
great.
someone had just asked me that question, how come we can't get her paper, in a digital form, because they were researching, said it takes so long. And I happened to stop down at the museum, says, hey, I've got a project I'm working on. And she said what's so neat about it is the actual, not the science, the History Museum actually does the work. They have the personnel, they do it. It's all on their computer program. That's what makes it so efficient at $1 a page, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so
I'd be totally
I'll
comfortable with
just
that.
touch base with Greg later and we'll see what, but I just wanted to bring it forward to see if we got that support. All right, that's what I had.
I have blight. Sorry about it.
It's all right.
So,
Take care of that.
Candy on 8th Avenue, I think I had mentioned that. I sent you an email from the lady on 8th Avenue, and I see the blight is still there with the stuff in the yard and all that. And so it's kind of a two-pronged comment here, the blight, and then also the continuing parking on that 8th Avenue. It's even getting worse, but they're parking on both sides again of 8th Avenue.
That's the one that people think's an alley?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So, and I think we've talked about that before, that it,
I thought it was a racetrack when I was a teenager.
I'm sure you did. So,
Yep, so.
you've got them both,
Chief will
okay.
take it.
Thank you so much, appreciate that.
Is that the one that
I'm good.
comes up against the?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Poor Andy.
Taxi cab? So, you saw it on there, we pulled it tonight. Counselor Whitney had reached out and made a comment with regard to the proposed ordinance. And the one comment I saw is, it's different than what I had drafted that you guys had seen. And I think the number of vehicles is the same. Counselor Whitney is requesting that the ordinance reflect you can't use the street for any of the cars involved. My draft ordinance says street or residence. I'm just looking for feedback so that we could get it posted and you guys could either take it up 16th or the 1st in May. Do you agree with Counselor Whitney's assessment? Yes? Is that, it's kind of a consensus?
I think
Or do you want to
that's-
allow the street to be used? I'm just looking for feedback, or should I just go ahead and post it and you guys can vote on it?
I think that's I'll speak first, I guess. Well, actually, you did.
Sorry.
Counselor Bayless, and you agreed, it's a great comment by Counselor Whitney. And, you know, you would assume anybody that wants to do this would have some off-street parking to create what they want to do. So,
Okay.
You come get your cab and then you replace it with your vehicle off-street. And then you go work your shift and come back, you put it back off-street where it was parked.
that's a great observation.
I 100% think that is the way we should go. Do we have any other ordinances for other commercial businesses that are not allowed to use the street for parking?
I don't, not that I'm aware of. Just off the top of my head, I'm not aware of ones that, because I mean, a lot of commercial movers or something can't pull up on somebody's driveway. They might have to pull up on the street to unload and so forth. That's just regular parking, but this is where you've just got an established business. And typically, we're still back to the whole residential versus commercial area, and we've kind of carved out the exception for the cab business, but not others.
So this would speak almost specifically to business in a residential area.
For the most part, yes. I mean, unless you can, if you opened a cab business in a commercial area, you couldn't park in the public sector if you, per that, yes. You'd have to have your own stalls out of the, so if you took a spot in the strip mall, say out by the coffee shop there, Caribou, and you want it as a cab business, you'd have to park in the back or something for your vehicle, per the ordinance, because if that's public parking in front, then that would be precluded. So that was my question on that one, so I'll make the tweak unless someone tells me differently. The only other comment I'm gonna make, Counselor Whitney forwarded an email he got, I think today, for an individual who apparently wanted to come today, but he's really more interested in the vacation proceeding that might happen in 2 weeks, that's scheduled for Filament Edition. So, he's not a resident of Hibbing, but he's a landowner in Hibbing, Mr. Richards, reached out to Councilor Whitney with the question, number one, how many votes is it going to take to actually pass that vacation if it happens? Because, and he's correct, our ordinance says you need a unanimous vote of the council. So if there's a council person who's not going to be here in 2 weeks, we probably wouldn't have that vote on that. We'd delay the vote till all of you are here, because under our ordinance, it has to take a unanimous vote. The state statute with regard to it only requires the 4/5 vote, but we follow our ordinance with regard to that. The other question or statement that the gentleman made was, how much is the city going to pay him because he believes that if you vacate the street that's involved here, it's precluding him access to his property. He's perceiving that as a taking, and therefore he believes he should be compensated by the city. And he cites some vague references to case law from, some of them have to be back in the 1800s. But just by the nature of the case reference he made, that's right around the time the state was formed. Some of the other ones are up to 2002. All that being said is that's one of the things that the council needs to weigh as to whether or not they even want to approve the vacation, as to how it would impact the other people that own property in the area. I'm not saying that you should be awarding him anything. By the fact that those were cases, that means somebody thought their access was precluded, and they sued the cities for doing it. And they ended up, in those particular cases, winning. There could be all kinds of cases where people sued and they got nothing, because per the proposed vacation, Mr. Richards still has access to his property. He couldn't access it probably down an alley behind his house, because that would be cut off on each end, I believe, if the vacation went through. It's just something the council, I think, needs to be educated on as to whether or not you think the vacation should happen. But in my opinion right now, I was not going to ever recommend that you award anybody any money or compensation for the vacation. I just think it's something you should weigh in making your determination as to whether or not the vacation should happen. That's all.
All right. Well, that being said,
How much is this gonna cost?
That's for last.
my pockets are empty.
So, we had a trailer on surplus, it's one of our bigger
Yep.
equipment trailers. So kind of looking at our trailers at Public Works, we don't feel we need another bigger trailer, but we'd like to purchase on the next meeting a smaller equipment trailer for our smaller stuff. We would be using surplus funds. We've been surplusing a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff to surplus this year yet, and we want to replace equipment with them funds. So just bringing that to council, like I say, we want to put this on the next meeting to get this ordered.
Joe, what's your estimate for surplus revenue and what the new trailer would cost?
So this year, right now, we have an excavator that we will be putting towards our new excavator that as surplus. We have the grader from the racetrack. We will have one of our other road graders, one of our older loaders. We did just sell a pickup truck. We have some smaller vehicles, ambulance. I'm hoping to estimate right now probably in the $200,000 to $250,000 worth of surplus in the next couple months. So we'd like to use them funds to replace some of our stuff that is in our plan. This is a 26 item, but we'd like to move it up as a little bit higher priority and use these funds.
Is this a big tilt trailer?
This is just a ramp equipment trailer,
Okay.
so.
All right, cool. I appreciate you bringing it. Any questions for Joe before he steps down? Okay,
Thanks.
that's it. We are done for tonight.